Hello everyone, today is the day, today is book publication day. It is the day that my first and only book comes out into the world. The book is called Here You Are Courageous. It's by me, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have this out into the world. Some of you will be here from the early days where I was posting a blog as Anxiety Mama and uploading YouTube videos. This book has been with me since then. So I started writing this when I first got diagnosed with panic disorder and agoraphobia, and I've been writing it all the way through, when I learned how to travel with panic attacks, right through to when I had my second daughter. I've been writing this book for the last decade of my life, and I'm really proud of it. If you are somebody who deals with anxiety, if you are somebody who deals with panic attacks, if you deal with fear of bodily sensations, toilet anxiety, OCD, agoraphobia, any of those kind of things, any of those sort of flavors of anxiety, I guess, I wrote this book for you. I want to give you a little bit of a sneak peek of what's inside the book, as well as a little bit of a book reading as well. So the book is split into two parts. So part one is fear and part two is courage. And the idea behind that is that courage and fear are inextricably linked. You can't have one without the other. But I think for a lot of us, when we deal with anxiety and we deal with panic attacks, we think that we aren't courageous. We think that we aren't brave. It's like we're waiting for courage to show up. We're waiting to feel more capable and more able, and we feel like there's something that we need to learn before we can get out there and face our fears. The whole premise of the book is that you already have that courage inside of you. Like the fact that you have those fears, the fact that you panic, the fact that you have that anxiety, that's actually indicative of how much courage you have available to you at any time. But it's just that we avoid our fears, and we do everything in our power to not sit amongst our fears and to not feel discomfort and to run away from our panic. And that's why we don't feel like we're finding our way to courage, because we're running away from the fear as well. And the two come together. So the book goes into things like finding safety in your body, what panic attack feels like, what anxiety is, where it starts in the brain, what it does to the body, what it feels like emotionally, what it feels like spiritually. It also goes into connection, how to find connection when you deal with a lot of anxiety and it's really hard to get out there and connect to other humans because you feel strange and weird and just unable, I guess. But we need connection. Connection and community is how we catapult our way towards healing. So the book goes into how to find connection. It also has a chapter called Falling in Love with Yourself, which is one of my favorite chapters. There's a lot in here, and it's not from the perspective of how to overcome anxiety. It's not written from the perspective of trying to understand anxiety from a scientific standpoint. I'm not a psychologist. I don't have a background in medicine. It's not a workbook. It's really just a book written by somebody who has had a lot of panic attacks and felt like they were very limited for a long time because of that, and the lessons that I learned along the way. So it's designed to be relatable. It's designed to be you. It's designed to be your story as well as mine. I hope that when you read this book, you feel like you aren't broken and that you don't have to keep fighting your anxiety. You don't have to keep fighting your way through panic. I hope that this book teaches you how to soften, how to start changing your habits to support the things that you do want rather than the things that you don't want. And ultimately, it helps you to fall in love with yourself and with your anxiety and courage as well. I'm going to read you a little bit of the book. This is from chapter 9, which is called The Habit of Being Anxious. In the editorial feedback for the first draft of this book, it was gently noted that there was a lot of repetition in my stories. Lots of talk about fear of shitting and frustration with not being able to make it to the end of my street at best. The notes weren't wrong. These were themes that came up again and again in my writing. although some of that could be blamed on inexperience, this being my first ever book. I wanted to argue that the reason these themes came up again and again in my writing was because they came up again and again in my real life. I can't tell you how many mornings I've spent sitting in a bathroom, waiting for the nausea in my belly to abate. I can't tell you how many times I've rehearsed potential outcomes in my head, catastrophizing to the nth degree in order to be absolutely certain that I can cope, always resulting in me being convinced that I cannot cope and I should probably cancel. I can't tell you how many conversations I've checked out of, too distracted by the sweat pooling at the base of my spine to have any awareness of what words were being said. And the number of times I've stood up after peeing only to sit back down on the toilet again to try and pee just that little bit more, because what if there's more in there? What if I need to wee again? Sit down, stand up, sit down, stand up. I've disassociated, I've ruminated, I've turned the car around at the halfway point. I've postponed, I've avoided, I've left early or not shown up at all. I've spent hours upon hours scanning my body for discomfort, assessing my heartbeat, my breath, my tummy, my throat, hunting for something to freak out about and freaking out whether I found something or not. I've done these things repeatedly because this is the hallmark of a life with anxiety. These were my anxious behaviours, and these were the ways in which I was unwillingly tied to my disorder, and my disorder tied to me. At least, so I thought. If you want to find out what happens in the rest of the book, you'll have to purchase a copy and read it. You can find Here You Are Courageous at all major book retailers today. It'll be online in the Kindle version through Amazon. You can also get it at like physical bookstores like Dimmicks, Booktopia. Actually, that's not a physical bookstore. Dimmicks, QBD. I'm pretty sure it'll be in like Big W and places like that. So please go out and get yourself a copy and let me know what you think. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Here You Are Courageous, my love letter to anxiety, my love letter to panic, my love letter to the me and the you who navigates that anxiety and panic.